It's time to create a profitable, scalable, and sustainable studio for yourself and your students. Welcome to Dance Studio Empire. I'm Jen, dance studio owner for 30 years, running multiple locations with over 1,000 students, dance business coach turned mastermind mentor for dance studio owners, creatives, and leaders like you. I know you're committed to growing your studio and creating the time and financial freedom you most want, while also being the best in the industry with a reputation to match. I've coached hundreds of studio owners who have grown to 250, 500, and over 1,000 students using my signature studio scaled method. And in this podcast, I'll give you the clarity, strategy, and CEO mindset to help you do the same. Let's dive in. Hello, studio owners, and welcome back to this week's episode of Dance Studio Empire. Now, this week is actually a follow-on from last week's episode. So I don't know if you have listened to it, but I talk about why I implement a re-enrolment strategy into my studio each year. And on the back of that, I figured I will now tell you exactly how I do that. So that's what this episode is going to be about. But before I get started, I just have to bring to your attention and have you celebrate with me that I've actually finally finished my timetable for next year. So I feel like I need a glass of champagne, even though it is early in the morning. You studio owners would absolutely appreciate if this is something you need to do, what a big challenge it is. And to have it done feels really great. I say have it done. I always know that there could be slight changes here and there, but the majority of it's done. It is ready to go out to our students when we start our re-enrollment strategy, which is in a couple of weeks. Anyway, thank you for celebrating with me. I will be the first to celebrate with you, so feel free to let me know when you get yours done as well. All right, well then let's move on to exactly how I do it. All right, so the purpose of it for me started several years ago, many years ago, when I moved from doing my enrollments a couple of weeks out from classes starting to questioning why was I doing it so late? I was losing control. It was a whole lot of work when I was supposed to be on my holiday break from the studio. And it just didn't make sense. So that's why, for some reason, I thought, well, why don't we do it before the year ends? Which now when I say it out loud, it makes so much more sense. And so that's what I did. It's been tweaked over the years for sure, but basically the same process is used. And I always look at the benefits of it. So the benefits for me as the studio owner is I start filling classes. So I know, where classes are filling, where classes aren't filling, so that when new inquiries come in, I can direct them to those classes that don't have as many kids in them. Or if there's kids who are doing one or two classes, I have time to encourage them to pick up other classes. So I can look at the timetable and have a look where there's holes and potential, and I can start acting on that before the year ends. It also gives the parents one less thing to worry about. It's something that's locked in and done. They don't need to think about dance again. You have priority because you are first out. So they're in, they're booked. They don't think about it again until a week before the classes start back. It also, if you take a registration fee, it also will give you a little bit of money in your bank account before Christmas, which is always helpful because we have that period where we don't get the income from our dance fees when we go on holidays. So that is also a benefit as well. I really appreciate that extra bonus as we get into the silly season. So that's another thing. It also is a really great time because of the hype and excitement around. So for us, it's concert time. So we're finishing up and we have concerts and costumes and the parents are all excited. The kids are all excited. The kids are feeling proud. The parents are seeing them shine. And so this is a great time for them to be incentivized to just sign up and keep this going because they want their child to experience this again. And so they're the benefits, and it really The benefits are going to outweigh the negatives when I do get into those, because it does take a little bit extra work. It can be time consuming. I also choose to spend, it comes out of my marketing budget, but it does get a little bit expensive the way I do it, but it always comes back tenfold. So it's worth it for me. All right, so let me go into exactly how I do it. So the first thing that I start with, which is about now in the year, so we've got 3 to 3.5 months to the end of the dance year, and that's when I start getting my head into the new year. So I start actually writing the following year's date all the time, so it becomes a little bit confusing. But the first thing I would do is the timetable. So we really need to lock that in. I It doesn't come straight away. Maybe you're lucky and it does. Maybe you have software that you just plug it in and it spits it out for you. Um, that is fantastic, but for me it doesn't. First thing I do is I print out a hard copy and I just leave that copy. I have a copy in my office, I have a copy in my car, I have a copy at the studio. It's just always there. So if I'm in the middle of something and I might have a thought about moving something, or a particular student or a particular group of students, I'll start marking it on these hard copy timetables. I find sometimes you look at it, then you don't look at it for a day or two, and then you look back at it. It just gets you in the mind without it becoming consuming and overwhelming and giving you those blocks. Now, once I have that printed out, it's then really important that you go and lock in your venue. So if you don't have complete access to your studio and your times, maybe you're hiring a community center or a school, something like that, you may need to just lock in the days and times that you are wanting for the following year. And I do know studio owners that have had the rug pulled from under them by not doing that, and then finding out a week before classes start back, they don't actually have the access to the times and the days that they want. So it's really important to get that in and do it over email so that it's in writing. And then you've just got that as evidence as well if anything ever did come up. So lock in that. Now, you've got your timetable. It's time to start doing it. Some little tips when it comes for me when I timetable, if it interests you or not. I look at the timetable, but I actually look at the students who are in each of the classes, because I find it's actually, I work better with moving the students around versus moving the classes around, if that makes sense. Because I and my studio manager, we get together and we have a chat about, this particular group of kids, they're in this level now. And we decide they really shouldn't be moving up to the next level, in air commas, moving up to the next level because they're still, not quite old enough, or whatever the reason might be, or they really need to skip to 2 levels because they've been there for too long. So we actually work with the students, and then we put classes in to to sort of accommodate them, if that makes sense. And so that way then they're staying together. We know that they're exactly where they need to be, and then we can confidently go to the parents and say, this is where your child needs to be. If it's possible, I try to keep my timetable as similar as it was the current year. I try not to make too many big changes. I know sometimes that's not possible. I know for us, our seniors are always on a Wednesday. They've always been on a Wednesday. So when our students get to senior level, they, regardless of what day they come on, they need to come on a Wednesday if they want to join the seniors. But for our younger groups, we have a little bit more flexibility because we have each level on each day. So I can keep them on the same day, but still move them up levels, if that makes sense. If not, I will show you a visual of my timetable. It makes a bit more sense when you can see the visual. Of course, I do timetable in blocks so that I can have students come for several classes in a row. That's also just to encourage them to join more than just 1 or 2 classes, keeping it convenient for the parents. So I want it to be as easy as possible for them. And just like, okay, well, it's a no-brainer. I'll just drop them off and go and do the shopping, and then I'll come back and grab them. So that's going to help you as well. And then the fourth thing I do is have another set of eyes look over it. So the beginning, I print out my copy, my studio manager prints out her copy. We then come together, we assemble what we think. And then I actually had another teacher look over it, and she's like, well, we could actually move this to here and this to here and then add this in. And I'm like, wow, that was really eye-opening, because we were so engrossed in what we knew and what we were working on. We hadn't actually thought about it outside of that square. So she was able to then just introduce another couple of classes, another couple of levels, which is going to be excellent for us with new enrollments, as well as students adding extra classes. So that was really good. So I do encourage, if possible, having somebody else look over it, even if it is just a teacher within your studio who knows the way your studio runs, who knows the timetable. That can definitely help. And then by the end of that step, you should have draft 1 done, which is a big achievement on its own. So you should go and have a glass of wine to celebrate. And then basically just go back to the beginning of that process of looking at it again, seeing what we need to move, having another set of eyes look over it, and then printing out draft 2. Then you get to the point where you are done. Now, this process, of course, can take not a day or two. If you're lucky, if you're talented, you might get it done in a day or two. But for many of us, it can take a couple of weeks, which is totally fine. Don't put the pressure on you. I think it is worth sitting and strategically working out the best way to run a timetable. So definitely hang in there. A few little tips with that is I do color code. I color code my levels. That does help visually when you're trying to move classes around. I know there are some teachers that use, some studio owners that use Post-it notes on whiteboards and move physical pieces of paper around. And of course, there are apparently some programs that you can use and just zip in the information. Apparently, it pops it out. I have never used that, so I can't give you an opinion on that because I've never used it. But if that works for you, brilliant. And then the last thing I'll say about that timetable, now that it's complete, I still do use the word proposed timetable, just in case there are other little changes. So at the time when we're handing it out to our current students for the new year, I do use the word is proposed, so just in case we need to switch things up, because you just never know what might happen. All right, so that's the first thing, locking in and securing your venue and your days and times, and then getting that New Year timetable done. All right, so the next thing that you need to do is to make some tough decisions, but I just encourage you to make them fast. And this is in the sense of pricing. So any prices, class fees that are going up, if you sell uniforms, shoes, merchandise, costuming, you might need to put your costuming up. I mean, it's definitely been an increase this year with delivery and shipping costs. I don't know if you've experienced the same, but definitely for us. So that sort of thing. Have a think about any new programs or offerings that you are going to offer, or are thinking about introducing, just so that you can start talking about it. You can include it in this re-enrolment strategy that you're going to be giving to your current students. The other thing that I would love to encourage you to do is to book in your concert rehearsals, recitals, anything that you definitely do and you know about the time of year that you do it. Book it in now so you can have that information and give it to your parents before they even sign up. This is such a big thing, and from a parent's point of view, when things come up last minute, you know how busy you are. So think about that as your parents. They're so busy, especially at the end of the year with Christmas and all the things coming up. So if you give them, 18 months notice, 14 months notice that the concert is going to be this particular date at this particular venue, then it's in their diary so they know. But I also do this, and I actually put it into a 12-month calendar, and it's one sheet of A4 paper, and it just has each month, and then each of the months I have what things that are due. So fees, the fee due date, I have term dates, I have any performance dates, photo days in there, concert days, rehearsal days, any performances. It's all in this one sheet document. It's also on our website. You can print it out and leave it around your studio, so the dates are in front of your parents all the time, in front of your students as well. Some of your older students need to know this, but this is a really important document to include in your re-enrolment plan, because you are giving you want to be giving your parents as much information as possible so they can make an educated decision whether or not they're going to re-enroll with you. Okay, give them everything so they can, they just need to be educated to make their own decisions. Now with this, so I'm calling it the information pack of it, so putting together the actual documents. This document is highlighting all of those changes, the new offerings, opportunities, things like that. You want to keep this document fairly simple with not too much detail, because these are your current families who are already with you. They already love you. You're loving up on them. So, they don't need the fluff and the cuddles. Chances are they just want the details, and they just want to know how to sign up and where to pay. That's the beauty of, if you've really nurtured your families over the years, that's how easy it can be. And it's this process, but they still will need to know a few details for the following year. And the benefit of the calendar, the 12-month calendar with the dates coming up, can put them straight into their diary, electronic or handwritten. I'm still a handwritten girl. And you will then, chances are you're going to get priority. I know sometimes you won't, but they can't say, oh, we can't do the concert because we booked a cruise. We didn't know that it's going to go over that particular date. If it's there already, it's either, if it's not in their diary, it's their own fault, but it's there. So they've got no excuse to come to you and say, I just didn't know that the concert was going to be there and we had to book our holiday, or whatever their excuses are. It takes away that from you. So give them that. They're then generally going to give you priority if things do come up. It helps those parents who are busy. They've got so much happening. It also benefits your teachers knowing these dates, so you can they have access to this information. So if a parent does go up to them and say, "Oh, what's the details for the rehearsal? What time does she need to be there? What date is it? What's the venue?" They can say, referring off the notes, it's on this particular day. She needs to be at this time, at this venue. And so that, instead of them saying, "Oh, just send an email to Miss Jen, she'll be able to tell you," or "go and speak to reception staff." It's taking away one less step as well of work for others, by putting in that time at the beginning. And a little side benefit with having that calendar done is it helps with your marketing throughout the year. So when things are coming up. So say you're having a disco in July, 3 to 4 weeks out from that, you're going to start talking about the disco in your marketing and your social media. So it helps you, or whoever's doing your social media, to do some reverse engineering when it comes to the marketing side as well. So see how I'm saving you work? See, there is a method to my madness, I promise you. Now, the other suggestion with having that information is attaching it with a QR code. So, life is changing, things are a bit different. QR codes are, well, we know a lot more about them now after coming out of the pandemic. But I find if you create an electronic version, maybe on a page on your website, so you can directly send current students to this page. This is not one that's open to the public. And then you can also have a QR code that sends them straight there with the information. So that's just another way of communicating with as little steps as possible. All right, so that's the second part. So you want to have your timetable done. Second part is creating your information package, or documents, however you want to say it, and highlighting the pricing, your new offerings, and any dates that are coming up for the new year. Remember, the more information, the better. Then we head into the third thing, which is actually the actual launch of your re-enrolment strategy. So this is where you collate all that information that you have, and you're about to open up the doors to your studio. Now, first thing I suggest you do with this is to give it a name. Give it a fancy name, something that stands out. It could be VIP registration, or priority re-enrollment, exclusive access, or gold star, or silver star, shining stars, whatever you want to call it. Give it something that maybe relates to your branding a little bit, but is also something that stands out for your families as something different, something special. You've put in a bit of time and effort for it. So give it a fancy name. I think we call ours VIP registration. I don't know. I can't remember. We've switched it up several times over the years. But make it something special for them. Now, the next thing you need to do is decide when you are going to open your doors for your re-enrollment and when you are going to shut the doors. Now, shutting them is this. So this is just because this is exclusively just for your current students. You are going to have an incentive for them to re-enroll. There's reasons for them to do it, which I'll go into in a minute. When it comes to the time period, this is probably one of the most common questions I get from studio owners is how long do you open it for? Now, I can only speak for me and what works for my studio. So I'll tell you what that is, and then you can work out whether that works for you. You can try it. If it works, great. If not, tweak it up the following year. That's the best way to learn. Okay, so for us, we do 4 weeks. I have the doors open for re-enrollment, priority re-enrollment for 4 weeks. And it's the 3 weeks before the concert and then the 1 week after the concert. So for us, we finish up our term that week after the concert. So essentially it's the last 4 weeks of our dancing year. Now, why I do it this way, I on that first week is where they get the information. Then it has a week to get home. Then there's 2 weeks for parents to come and ask any questions that they might have, for them to come into the studio if possible. It also is really easy for those who barely even read the information and they just sign and pay, and then they're just on your list. So that's brilliant. Your classes are filling because they already know you. They already love and trust you. So they're just like, you just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And you've made the process is so simple for them. They've got those couple of weeks to just get it done. They just don't even think about it again until a week before classes start back. They're very grateful parents. I'm a grateful parent for things like that too, because then I don't need to worry about it or think, oh, I've forgotten to do that. Oh, I must put that on my to-do list. So that's those 2 weeks are brilliant for those ones. At the concert, when I'm speaking and I get up on stage, I talk about it. And I will say, we've got 1 more week left of our priority re-enrollment. Make sure you sign up. You don't want to miss out. You don't want to miss out on a spot in the classes that you want. You don't want to miss out on our gift that you get as part of it. I'll go into that again in a minute. But I could talk about it at the concert, and then I give them the option at the concert. So at the back of the auditorium, go up the back and see Nat. She's sitting at the desk. She'll be able to help you if you want to get that done right now. And remember the hype of a concert. Everyone is so excited. They're elated, and there's family there, and they're so proud, and the children are so proud of themselves. They've had such a great time and experience. That's the time when they're like, this is what I want for my child. Sign me up. When do we do this again? You know, she's beyond improved and confident and happy. And so it's a great time to talk about it. And so then if they don't do it on that particular day, I then have that following week, which we call our graduation week. And so in the graduation week, we roll out the red carpet for each of the classes. We invite the parents in. The children get a certificate and a little gift congratulating them. And so the parents are actually in the studio in that last week, and we talk about this is the last time to re-enroll for the priority re-enrollment. If you want to make sure you secure your spots, and we say that same language. You'll hear me start saying the same language when I'm talking to them, when I'm marketing, in emails, in social media. This is what we're saying to them. So that's what you want to be doing in that particular open close time. So for me, 4 weeks works beautifully. Obviously, at that point, we then open to the public, and they can still enroll, but they just don't get the little bonuses on the side as well. And if classes are full, they don't get a spot. And I can confidently sit there and say that because our classes do fill up. And I can say to them, you do not have to sign up now. Absolutely not. However, you need to know that these classes do fill, and if you do try to get in and it's full, you'll just have to go on a waiting list. So that's fine as long as you're happy with that. So I can have conversations like that with them, and it usually encourages them, oh, you know what, I better sign up because I definitely need Saturday classes, and that's being honest and genuine because our classes just fill up and we have waiting lists. So I can say that. All right. So the next thing is you need to offer an incentive for your current students to re-enroll. Okay. You want them to feel special. You want them to feel important. You want to feel like you're giving them something. And you know, it can be multiple things. It could be a free t-shirt with enrollment, which is always great because they love that physical thing. Could be a discount on the registration fee, maybe a free ticket to a workshop. You know, you might have something you offer before classes. And so have a think about something that is going to be feel valuable to your families and your students. And so it gives them incentives and a reason to sign up within this 4 weeks. And then during this 4 weeks, have it visually somewhere where they can see it. So whether if it's a t-shirt, start wearing the t-shirt. Get your teachers to wear the t-shirt. Hang it up in the studio if you can. If you are offering a discount, maybe jump onto Canva and print out a $10, $20 bill because that's what they're going to be saving, and then stick it around your foyer if you can, or things like that. If you're offering a free ticket, print out a ticket from Canva, just so they can physically see what they're getting as an incentive for them to actually re-enroll with you. So that's what you want to be talking about and hyping up as well. Not that it's the be all and end all, but I don't know about you, but I certainly like getting something for free. Getting little gifts is always nice. So it does help in that decision making. And then, okay, so then what I've done, I collate all that information, everything that I've got, including the timetable, the 12-month calendar, all the information about the concert dates and times, pricing changes, anything that they need to know about without the extra fluff. I put it into a pack. Now, I make it in a physical pack as well as electronic, and I have found this works very well for us. This is where it does take time and it does cost a little bit of money, but for me, as I said earlier, it's part of my marketing budget, and so I've actually believe that it's worth it because of the result I get from it. So we put this pack together. Also in this pack, so I put it into a folder and then I'll put their name on the front. So as it's handed to them, they feel like it's really special and it's very personalized. So it's not just handing out sheets of paper. Also in this pack, I will include separate sheets of paper that might be the ordering the concert DVD, information about our assistant teacher program, information about our performance teams, the sign-up sheet for our photos. So I'm essentially like handing the information to the parents with everything they need to know in these last 4 weeks, as well as the information for the new year. And so that way it encourages them to buy the DVD from the concert, to take up the photo offers, to think about joining the assistant teacher program or the performance team. So it just sort of gives that information all in one go. But let me tell you, the real secret to this is each of these packs are personalized. And so we have a sheet of paper, just a small sheet of paper, and it's printed. We've loved having, and then dot, and we fill in the student's name by hand. So say Taylor in our class this year. We are so excited and would love to invite her to be in these particular classes next year. So I actually tell them what classes they'll be going into. And then at the bottom, I'd just like to finish off by saying I think she would also love, and then adding the name of another class that she might be able to do. So whether it's acro or, I don't know, musical theatre, something that she's not already doing. And then so you're opening up the doors, and all it really is doing is making some parents unaware of other things that happen in the studio. So it just opens their mind to, oh, wow, I didn't even know that they did acro in the studio. So I was really surprised with how many people actually took up that option. So at first it was just sort of like a nice way to finish off the letter. But yeah, a lot of people are like, yeah, wow, I never thought about that. Or she said, oh yeah, her friends do musical theatre. So yes, I think she'd love that. She loves singing around the house. So it just gives them another option that they just may not have known about. And it's genuine. It's coming from a place of genuine growth and improvement and opportunity for their child, just selling them something for the sake of selling them. But yeah, so we do that. It's personalized. It's also going to then save a lot of questions from parents, or every single parent coming up to you and go, what level do you think she should be going into? She's this turning this, and like, I don't know whether she should be here or staying here because the friends are all going here. It just takes away that. You will still definitely get questions. Like, let's be real. We're dealing with dance mums. But you can sit confidently and just say, I've spoken to the class teacher. I've connected with the studio manager and everyone else who is involved with your child, and we really believe this is the best level for her, and we want to keep them together because they're growing so well. And you can sort of sell and cut off any lingering problems or issues that may arise. So that is really, really worth it. And we've only really been doing that a couple of years now, but definitely worth it. So yes, do that. And then you have now your pack all together. You've picked your date. You know when you're opening. You know when you're closing. So now you just have to start talking about it, and start talking about in your marketing. Maybe run a countdown. Talk about next year in class. Build the hype and the anticipation of how exciting things are going to be. And make the big announcements at the concert. Make an announcement about how the new programs that are being offered, new opportunities. So now you have all the information that you need to put together in launching your re-enrolment strategy. You have the how, you have the when, and you have the what. So I really do encourage you to take this information if you do have the time, both energetically and physically, to do it. It is absolutely worth it. It is a pivotal part of continuing to grow your dance studio empire, which is why I'm here. I'm here to help you grow your empire, right? So, take this information. I know it could be overwhelming, but just go back and listen again, or you can always reach out to me and ask me. All right, I'm going to leave it there for you today. Remember, please share with me when you get your timetable done, and know that I will be cheersing you in the background and celebrating you. I know what it means to get it done. So if you feel a need to share and for someone to celebrate you, let me know. I will be your person. All right, everyone, have a really great week, and I look forward to speaking to you next Thursday.